Well, here we are. It's Tuesday, November 8th, 2022. I'm Larissa. Can you hear it? Can you hear the delicious rain? Can you hear the delicious rain? The mountain opening itself to the rain. It's supposed to rain almost all day. Mm. So, hmm. Working on a new project right now, and it's a new old project, kind of, sort of, but it's new. I don't want to talk about it too much because it's kind of painful. But yesterday, got some work done that was a long time coming. And when it's finished, it's going to be interesting to see what I've got, right? Eyelash or something. One of my crazy eyelashes. When the rain finally hits, there's a release of some of the pain. And it is, oh, my Auntie Mom used to say this thing to me. She used to say, Rissy, what's the best thing about hitting yourself in the head with a hammer? And I'd say, what, Grandma? She said, it feels so damn good when you stop. It's kind of like that. Like the pressure before the rain system comes in. Is like this horrible pounding on my body. And then when the rain finally releases, ah, it's like I want to melt into a puddle. My work yesterday was really intense, and I was so exhausted by the time I got home. So exhausted. I don't know. I think it might be time for some poetry. I think it might be. I think I need to start writing more poetry on a regular basis. I think so. Like I got some letters I need to write. Yeah. Get those done this week. And I got another little hickey I want to make. A little funsy testy thingy. Oh, Karen Carpenter. Thinking about her a lot. Her music. The hardest thing I've ever done is keep believing there's someone in this crazy world for me. The way the people come and go through temporary lives, my chance may come and I may never see. I used to say no promises, let's keep it simple. But freedom only helps you say goodbye. It took a while for me to learn that nothing comes for free. The price I've paid is high enough for me. It's hard to sing when you first get up in the morning. I'm not a bird. Those lyrics are really good, though. Really good. Who wrote that one? Did she write? Did she write lyrics, or did she just, or she sang? I mean, I know she played drums, but did she write any of the lyrics that she sang? I know that a number of the songs that she didn't write, I know for a fact. I'd really like to meet her brother. I totally would. I would love to meet Richard. I would totally love to meet her brother. I get his book. I do. I want to get his book. And I'm not usually like that, right? Like, I can usually take or leave biography / autobiography kind of thing. Think biographies that I've read that were interesting. Mother Jones. That was an interesting one. Who else? Emma Goldman. That was an interesting one. Who else have I read biographies or autobiographies biographies of? Who else? Oh, Andrew Jackson. I did that for a book report for school. It was a biography. Who else? Andrew Jackson purchased Alaska. Who else have I read? I've read a few. Oh, Mother Teresa. I've read her. I've read biography and autobiography. Well, posthumous biography using her own writings, right? Who else? Teresa of Avila. Yes. Who else? Saint Larissa. Who else have I read biographies of? There again, Saint Larissa. That was for a book report in school. Oh, Sex Pistols. No blacks, no dogs, no Irish. And I read the Nirvana, the Kurt Cobain biography. I read. Who else? I don't know. I have to go in there on my bookshelf in our library and see who I got in there, who I've read about. I've read biography on Kurt Vonnegut, although that was more essays. It wasn't a full length thing. I've read a lot of essays on Kurt Vonnegut because I've read almost all of Kurt Vonnegut's collections. Breakfast of Champions, great book. Great book. Breakfast of Champions. Read that book, and then you'll know what an asshole looks like. You have to read the book to find out what I mean. At Kurt Vonnegut. Very funny atheist. Very, very funny atheist. Excuse me, non-theist. Depends. Some people prefer non-theist to atheist. I'm not sure that there's a difference. There might be. There might be. I don't know. Kurt Vonnegut. Sirens of Titan. Ooh, maybe I'll read that one out loud. It's a really good one. Although I was thinking I might do Light in August next. That's what I was thinking. After I finish To a God Unknown. I might do Light in August. And then after Light in August, maybe I'll do Plato. Although Kurt Vonnegut would be funny. Mother Night. The only Kurt Vonnegut that was made into a film with Nick Nolte. And if I remember correctly, the film followed the book fairly closely. Although, if I'm gonna read Mother Night and the Moon is Down. Another Steinbeck. Moon is Down. So good. So good. Karen Carpenter. Yeah, so Richard, I might get your book. I'll look it up. Maybe I'll look it up on the Amazons. Yeah, I don't go into... I used to work for a bookstore. I used to work for an independent bookstore. And I understand the argument against Amazon. And I have an argument against independent bookstores, at least the one I worked at. It was... It was horrible. You want to talk about intellectual snobbery and community manipulation and skeezy labor acts? Oh my God. Totally, totally corrupt space. Tom Montaigne, oh my God. What a skis. Copperfield's books. I can't say nothing good came from me working there because I got to read a lot of books, right? Because I had my hands on books all the time. But there's not a single person I met working there who added any kind of value to my life. Oh. Seriously. A lot of commie scum there. So, yeah, when you go into bookstores like that, you know, the stuff that's on the shelves is the political bent of whoever works there. And so that's why you see a lot of crap in places. And it's like an echo chamber. There's no real intellectual kind of discourse, right? You don't have anything that's really balanced. It's propaganda of whoever works there, or more accurately manages the place. So I'm very rarely impressed. Very, very, very rarely impressed. It's at least on Amazon you can order whatever the hell it is you're looking for, right? And get it quickly. I don't know what it is. Like, I can order a book on Amazon and have it in a couple days, right? But you order a book at a bookstore. I used to work at a bookstore, so you contact Ingram or Powell's or whoever, and it fucking takes forever to get a book. Seriously. You get your shipment, like, what, once every week and a half, 2 weeks? You used to make those phone calls. Your book is in. I don't want to have to wait 2 fucking weeks for a book. No, not when I know I can order it on Amazon and get it in like 3 days. Why is that? Why is that? We used to use Amazon all the time to look up books, right? Find out what the ISBN or whatever was. But then, we couldn't order from Amazon now. They used to do the long haul. All right. Yeah. My duty. They did screwy ass things to me at that bookstore too. Like, I was in charge of periodicals, right? Organizing, ordering periodicals and deshelving periodicals, and then you got to rip the covers off and send the covers back, right, to the publishers, and then they dump all the periodicals that don't get sold. So I used to take a lot of those periodicals home. That's why I have a large collection of periodicals for collage work. But there were a lot of interesting periodicals are a lot of really interesting things. Um, I love periodicals. I do. They're fantastic. Yeah, so you send the covers back, and then the store gets reimbursed for the unsold copies, right? And the publishers of the periodicals, they keep track of like um, what is subscription based. So like when you go to advertise in a periodical and you look at their marketing, they'll tell you what their distribution is, and distribution is different in different areas. And so like even when like you get a magazine, if you get a Vogue magazine, I'm just using Vogue because Vogue's a very recognizable cover. You get a Vogue magazine in California, there's going to be different ads in it than if you get a Vogue magazine in New York. And so they print then specifically for areas of distribution as well. And you can, there's usually like in marketing, there's tiers of like where your distribution is going to be, and you choose which countries or whatever you want your ad to be distributed in when you go into that kind of thing. Periodicals are really interesting. Really interesting. They are. I tried to organize a periodical when I was living in Oakland. I don't understand why people were so like. I mean, I know there was Oakland Magazine. Like every city has their town magazine, whatever, right? But that's not what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to do something a little different. People fought me on it. There's one bitch, she didn't have 2 dimes to rub together of her own, and I was doing photography, and she's like, "I don't want to be in your periodical. I need a professional photographer." Yeah, okay, whatever. Professional photographer. All the professional, the only good professional photographers I've worked with. Let's see. Andrew Weeks was fantastic. I don't know if he's still around or not. Andrew Weeks was fantastic. Um, when it came to photographing my jewelry work, Deezer was good. I wouldn't say I'd recommend him to just anybody. I don't even know if he's still alive. He was a weirdo. He was a real weirdo. I mean, very good photographer, but he was a real weirdo. Um, I think that's it for professional photographers who I would say anything good about. The rest of the ones that I've worked at with have been super shitty. Super shitty. Even if their work was good, just I wouldn't mention them at all because their work wasn't good enough to override the shittiness of their personality and the way that they behaved and treated the work, right? Seriously. That's why I ended up doing my own photo books, because there was work that I wanted to do. There's all the photo essays that I did. There was work that I wanted to do artistically. Hmm. Yeah. I remember I shared one of my photo essays when I first got them back with this one photographer who I had wanted to work with, and he was just like, I don't know what the fuck his problem was. But he says, "Oh, it's a nice exercise." I'm like, "Exercise my fucking foot." You know, this isn't an arrogance. Not everything I do is fantastic. But when I make something and it is truly inspired and it is beautiful, I know it. And I am, when it comes to my work, I am my most accurate and hardest critic. I spent 5 years at CCS immersed in the process of critique, which is not the same as review. Like, well, depends on how you're using the term review, but artistic critique, that process, it's not a natural thing, right? Like it's a skill. It's something you learn. So like I know, and when I've made something beautiful, I feel humbled to have been allowed to make it. It's a different kind of thing, right? Like I said, not everything I make is that way, right? And it's a nice exercise. I'm like, that is not an exercise. Made me want to snatch, because I gave him a copy, right? And I signed it and everything. And I wanted to snatch it out of his hand and go burn it. I was so irritated. I was so offended. I was so offended because I am never jealous of somebody else's work. All right, I'll explain what this means. Um, when somebody makes something that is truly theirs, an original piece, and that's not to say that, I mean, all people who make things have influences, right? And inspirations and stuff. But there's a difference between bastardizing somebody else's work, like what has been done to a lot of my work, and like what the music industry and things and the entertainment industry does to a lot of artists, right? There's difference between taking parts from and bastardizing somebody else's work and being inspired, having influence from, right? Um, and I am always just so happy for anyone who has the opportunity to make something, to create something, to be vessel for a piece of art that is transcendent. And you can't be jealous of that. And if you're a person who makes things, you shouldn't be jealous of that, because like you should have the understanding, if you're a person who makes things, you should have the understanding of the challenge and suffering and skill and um, perseverance and pain that goes into that, right? Like when I am too my work, things I make, the work I make is horrible and when I get too caught up in myself, in my ego, right? About, oh, I'm making this, I'm the maker, I'm the artist. That's when my work is bad. And that's how I know. That's how I know to check myself. And there's a humility that has to come when you're working, right? Yeah. So I was just disgusted when his response to me was like that. I was like, wow. Wow. These jackets I've been working on as garments. It's an amazing series. It really is. I am just like blown away. I'm blown away by them. Like, I don't want to fuck them up, And this other project I'm working on right now, I am so like I don't want to jinx it by talking about it too much. But when it's done, I will talk about it. When it's done, I will definitely talk about it. Yeah. Unless I die before then. Hmm. So I got some stuff to do today. I got some places I need to be. So there's this place, Santa Cruz, used to be called Joe's Pizza and Subs. Now it's called Robbie's Pizza and Subs. The place looks entirely the same. The sign's even the same, font and everything, except now it says Robbie's Pizza and Subs instead of Joe's Pizza and Subs. Before, it was, you know. But now, the pizza's great. I don't know. I think it's the sauce. Just steal somebody's pizza sauce recipe. No, it's good. The pizza's really good. Yeah, it is. It's really good. Much better restaurant now. We had pizza from there last night because I didn't feel like cooking after I came home. So I stopped and got pizza and salad. Got double mushroom pizza for me. Double mushroom and garlic. Oh my gosh, I made this Portuguese garlic kale soup, right? It's supposed to have linguiça in it, but I made the linguiça separate for Omar to put in his, and I put white beans in it for me, right? But the feature is the kale and the garlic in this soup, right? Well, the garlic. It's a lot of garlic. So good. Yesterday, I was sweating garlic out. It tasted so good, though. So good. Yeah, you got to do the garlic the right way. You got to put it over the heat slowly so it doesn't get the bitterness on it from browning, but becomes tender and soft and infuses everything, including the vegetables, right? So you got to be careful. You use butter, which means you have to be even more careful because it's easy to burn your garlic in butter, right? So you have to keep the heat. It's hard to do on an electric stove. You have to do it over a gas flame because you can really regulate the flame then, right? Anyway, the garlic gets really, really sweet. It gets really, really sweet with the constant stirring and stuff. So good. But I stunk like garlic yesterday, and I felt bad because I was working with somebody else, and I said, I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry if you smell garlic. I'm sorry. I'm sweating garlic out. Made this garlic soup. I was stinky. I was super stinky. I smelled like garlic. Big blooming garlic rose. Well, look who it is. Hey, is it raining outside? Did you stay inside because you don't want to get wet? Is Daddy outside by himself? Daddy's outside by himself because you don't want to get wet? Are you a big baby? Hey, were you sitting in Mama's lap last night? Were you sitting in Mama's lap while we watched the basketball games? Huh? Were you sitting in Mama's lap like a big baby? He was. I was gone all day. When I came home, I smelled like another dog. And I was carrying all my stuff, and I was having trouble walking yesterday because it hadn't really started raining yet, and I had my stick, and I had the pizzas, like I had all of these things in my arms, and he's trying to jump on me and smell me, and I was just like, I had to yell at him. I felt bad. Apologized afterwards. I'm like, I'm sorry, buddy. But then he was so happy, and he got up on the couch and he snuggled. He snuggled. He was snuggly. Oh, the basketballs. Somebody needs a hug. I think I might send someone a hug. I think I might. I think there's someone I'd love to give a hug to. Anyway,